You know, before these games, there were very, very few good licensed games. There were some that were decent, some that were okay, some that were... But I still state that these two games, the Batman Arkham games, are two of the greatest, if not best, licensed games ever created. And you know what they did to do that? They stayed close to the lore. They stayed close to the characters. But also that they innovated, added different things that not all Batman games had done. They also had some of the best written stories I've ever seen. But you know what they didn't have? They didn't have multiplayer. Which, in today, is a rarity. Was that a positive or a negative? That was a positive for me. I'm not a big multiplayer gamer. Never have been, never will be. When I was playing these games, I never once thought that these needed multiplayer. I never once did. I have replayed both these games numerous times because of that. No multiplayer has made these games great in my opinion, and they didn't need it. Let's fast forward a little bit. Batman Arkham Origins. Not being made by Rocksteady, which was one of the major things that I didn't like. But I am not one of these people that will say, oh fuck, the new Warner Bros. Interactive are going to ruin it. I didn't think that. I thought that, you know what, they might do some good. I hope they do. I hope they do some good. And so far what they've shown, it looks interesting. It does look like a nice way. I'm a little disappointed that it's an origin story still, but at the same time I'm not going to judge it till I've played it. That wasn't until the most recent trailer, which has just announced 3 versus 3 multiplayer for Arkham Origins. Right. I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Not every fucking game needs multiplayer. This is one of the things I hate about the industry. This is one of the things that I think Call of Duty has done that I hate. I don't hate the Call of Duty games. They're not my type of games. I hate what they've done to the industry. That just because their main appeal is the multiplayer, every other developer and every other publisher that thinks to make their game successful, instead of relying on the game itself or the story itself, they think they have to add on a multiplayer. Like, Dragon Age Origins is a fantastic game, one of the greatest games I ever played. Doesn't need multiplayer. The Dragon Age series doesn't need multiplayer. The Mass Effect series didn't need multiplayer, but it got a multiplayer Mass Effect 3. And you know what I think? Anytime I hear multiplayer being added to a franchise that has relied solely on single player content and replayability, like the Batman Arkham franchise, it screams two things. One, they have no faith in the main story mode, so they think they have to have a multiplayer to add replayability. Two, it's half-assed and tacked on. I'm sorry. This multiplayer from the trailer is not appealing at all. It's your standard deathmatch. That's what it looks like. And I don't like that. I really don't. Now, I'm not saying multiplayer shouldn't be introduced into a game eventually, but at least try and do something that everyone else hasn't done. But I'm not going to play this multiplayer, I guarantee it, because it doesn't look appealing to me. It doesn't. It never it doesn't. No multiplayer appeals to me. I've played almost every variety of multiplayer out there. Single player, deathmatch, team, single player, multiplayer. I've played multiplayer. I've played horde mode. I've played deathmatch. I've played capture the flag. I've played a lot of multiplayer games, mostly from the Halo franchise. I've played an MMO. I played Guild Wars 2. You know what my initial thought, or my overall thing? It's not for me. I don't like that kind of thing. And that's what I don't like about this, is the fact that this multiplayer screams that they have no faith. They have no faith in the game alone. The Arkham license alone will sell this game. People will buy this game because of the Arkham license, and from what I've seen from the trailers and the story ones and the characters that have been revealed, I'm actually kind of hyped for this game. It looks good. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. But with this half-assed multiplayer on, it just screams to me they have no faith in it. They have no faith in the game to stand on its own. I don't get why. If Rocksteady may have done this. They may have done this, and for some reason I'm okay. I would have been a wee bit okay with that. Still feeling a little bit ashamed of the fact that Yeah, it was half-assed and tagged. I'd still say this if Rocksteady were doing it, but I don't even think Rocksteady would do that because Rocksteady have always prided themselves on a good story. And that's what the Arkham games are. They could have added multiplayer to Arkham City, but they didn't. They added just the single player, which was fantastic, and I loved it. And Arkham Origins, I was hoping that it would be the same, that the story would mean something. It would be the story. The single player would stand on its own in a world where every game apparently needs multiplayer, when in actual fact every game doesn't need multiplayer. Not every game needs multiplayer in every single sense of the word. A single player RPG doesn't need multiplayer. A single player action game doesn't need multiplayer. The type of games, I don't want to say you can put multiplayer in single player centric franchises. If you want, if the developer decides to do that, then do it. I'm not going to judge. I'll judge it when it comes out. And I will do this. I'm not going to play the multiplayer in this, of course, because it just looks like every other multiplayer out there. And I just don't like that. I really don't. And it's taking time away from the development of the single player to make the game look crisp and perfect. Like the Arkham City, they put everything they had into the single player game. They put everything they had, the money, the time work, the effort, the blood, sweat and tears, the writers, the graphic designers, the artists. They put everything they had into the single player, and the single player shined for it. It was shining. It was a shining beacon to prove that single player games without multiplayer can work. And this is a couple other things have made me question why Rocksteady haven't done it, why Warner Bros. Interactive wanted to get this game out, and now it's blatantly obvious they just wanted to rush another Arkham game out to get money. Now, I'm not going to judge the single player, but the multiplayer, it looks half-assed. It looks like the standard multiplayer we get in every other fucking game. And I just don't like that. I really don't. And it really frustrates me that developers think that these days you have to have multiplayer in your games, otherwise it's going to fail. But the Arkham games have proven that you don't. That you don't need multiplayer in a game to make a game successful. You don't. So stop putting it in games that don't need it. Put all of your time, your effort, your teamwork into making the single player fantastic. That's what you should do. You shouldn't split the team and get some of them working on the multiplayer and half the rest of them working on the single player. You get all of the team working on the single player. You get that single player perfect. You get it great. You get every detail right. Instead of making the multiplayer something that people will play for 5 minutes and then never play again. I really hate this. I really fucking do. Like, I was going to be patient and wait and judge Arkham Origins when it came out. But this just screams, I'm going to judge it beforehand. Like, when Mass Effect 3 announced there was going to be multiplayer, this is what I felt. I was like, no! 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 This is what I felt. I was like, no, it doesn't need multiplayer. It doesn't need multiplayer. And before anyone goes, oh, but it'll make it more fun with friends. Everything's more fun with fucking friends. The only reason I enjoy playing I played the Mass Effect multiplayer was 2 reasons. 1, I had to do it to get my galactic readiness up there. And 2, I was playing it with people I trusted and friends I knew. And that made it more fun. When I was playing it without my friends, it was a fucking hassle. And this is what it's going to be. I doubt it's going to be as bad as that. Like, you don't have to play the multiplayer to get anything in the single player. I doubt that. It just screams to me lazy. It just screams to me the fact that they have no faith in the series. When the series has proven that it can work without multiplayer. If they wanted to do something along that line, just stick to the challenge maps. The challenge maps in the Arkham games were fine. They weren't multiplayer, they were high score focused, and they were fun. They were entertaining. They allowed you to test your skill as Batman, as in Arkham City, as Robin, as Catwoman. It let you test your skills and see that you could improve on that and get you better at the game. The multiplayer's not going to do that. It really annoys me. I just don't get it. What makes a developer think that multiplayer will be a good thing for a game franchise that is focused mostly on the single player? I don't get it. I really don't. I get the fact that multiplayer games are a major contributor to the gaming industry. I get that, and they exist. But stick to the franchises that have established that multiplayer is the only thing that makes them good. Like Call of Duty. That the only thing that makes Call of Duty good is the multiplayer and the zombies. That's it. The rest of the game sucks my ass. Halo, to an extent. Halo had a good story at one point, but now it's mostly focused on the multiplayer. I really do hope that this... I really hope that the multiplayer didn't take anything away from the single player. I hope that they didn't take some of the team who were working on the single player and put them in the multiplayer. I fucking hope they didn't. But to me, it still screams laziness. It still screams we have no faith in our license that we have to add in multiplayer. I hate this. I hate that the industry thinks this is what's right. That a game can't be successful without multiplayer. It's been proven it can. If your game is good with a story that is exceptional, or can go over the top balls insane, then it's fine. Warner Brothers Interactive. I was giving you the benefit of the doubt. But apparently you're just like every other developer out there now. You think multiplayer is a necessity when it isn't. I will judge Arkham Origins when it comes out. I will buy it. I will play the single player, and I will judge it on the single player alone, as I have judged the Arkham games. I am not playing this multiplayer. I am not. Now, if you come out and you enjoy the multiplayer when it comes out, good on you. But the Arkham games have never been multiplayer centric. They have been single player. You can call me a fanboy. You can call me a skepticus, conspiracy theorist, whatever the fuck you want to call me. I'm a gamer. And I just hate this. I hate sounding negative. I hate saying this about a game franchise that I love. But Arkham Origins, I will judge when it comes out. But the multiplayer didn't need to be there. It didn't. Because it takes time away from the development of the game and the single player. If there was multiplayer in Arkham City, it would have taken away from the single player. Because developers who are working on the single player would have to have gone and worked on the multiplayer. And the game might not have looked as good, or it might have not even played as good. But they did so well in concentrating on the single player that it worked. And that's what I think should be done. If you want to put multiplayer in your game, fair. That's alright. But don't let your single player suffer for it. It really doesn't. I'm going to have to go into it. I don't get it. I get why multiplayer is popular, I really do. But I don't get the appeal. I never once thought that the Arkham games needed multiplayer, and I still stay by that fact that the Arkham games don't need multiplayer. Let me know what your thoughts are, clan. Like, what do you think of this? Are you the same thought mentality as me, or are you going, I'll judge it, I'm okay with it. Just be constructive. I'm bitching and moaning, but I'm trying to stay positive here. I'm giving reasons why it's a bad thing. As I said, it could be a good thing as well, but I see nothing but negatives, and the multiplayer trailer just screams to me that they're taking time away from working on the single player. And that's what really annoys me, that they've had to take time away to work on the multiplayer instead of making the single player amazing. So, let me know what your thoughts are. This is my thoughts. I hate this. I really fucking do. I thought the Arkham franchise was going to be this one franchise that would stick to its guns and stick to being a single player orientated action game. But no, it turns out it's going to go the fucking route of every other fucking single player franchise these days and add in a half-assed multiplayer. I will judge it. I will get it. I'm still waiting for my Arkham sequel, by the way. Thank you for watching. As always, I'm Scottish Warrior 92, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now.